Well, everyone, this is something totally brand new. We are actually live from our theater in Hendersonville, Tennessee, where we'll be taping our show a little later tonight. But we're doing something we've never done before. We're happy that you've joined us. It's a live chat. Now, it's really live. I'm looking at my watch here in the Central Time Zone. It is 1:14 on a Friday afternoon Central Time. If you're in a different time zone, I know you're jealous, but that's just what it is. So we are live. And so are you. We're going to let you ask your questions. You're going to be able to join with us and participate. And if this goes well, we'll never do it again. No, if it goes well, we may even do it again. Joining me is Pam Case, who's senior producer of the Huckabee Show here on TBN, a longtime broadcaster. We've tossed her onto the couch and said, okay, Pam, you've got to field the questions and see how this thing goes. I know we've had some that have been sent in, but we're getting them all ready from people who are joining us for the live chat. So your job, throw the questions and the comments at me. My job is to see if I can maybe respond without ruining my life and career and losing my last friend.
And it's good because you're seated.
Yes,
in case you need to be.
Good. Yeah.
So we're pretty excited because this is the first time. Now, I want to reiterate, too, that this is a great opportunity for the audience to have direct contact to you specifically. So that's great.
Didn't even have to have a ticket to the theater for the show. How about that?
That's even better.
Yeah.
But still come, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so can I throw a question your way? Let's
Absolutely.
start. 1, 2. This is from Guy Howell. Guy Howell.
Okay.
He's a subscriber to your newsletter, which he faithfully reads twice daily and an avid viewer of your posts on YouTube.
Good.
But he says, I have recently become aware of some seemingly derogatory remarks that you make about Ben Shapiro at the end of your posts that has him wondering. Okay, so do you find him offensive somehow? I think that he makes a lot of sense and you can't, for the life of me, that's what he said, see how anyone can find fault with his logic. Maybe I haven't been detoxed enough. Why do I sense such animosity toward him?
Gee, I have no idea. Ben has been a guest on this show on several occasions. We love Ben Shapiro. I love him. I think he's one of the brightest minds in the whole conservative universe today. And honestly, I'm not sure where in the world you'd get any idea. I think that there's one line that we use at the end of one of our YouTube segments to promote. And it's a reference, but it's actually a compliment to Ben Shapiro, saying that something to the effect of, you'd have to be missing Ben Shapiro to miss this. So it's not a derogatory remark. If anything, it is a laudatory remark because we think Ben Shapiro is one of the truly bright lights in the conservative firmament these days.
Well, I need you to know. First of all, it sounds like you're trying to make it even for old Ben. We have folks tuning in from Alaska, Arizona, Nevada, Canada, Africa. So just so you know, that's what's going on.
What time of night is it in Africa? I don't know.
I don't know. They're a few hours away, so for sure. All right, this is from Deanna Wiley. What are the odds that your daughter will take your old position? Talking about Sarah, of course, over in Arkansas.
Oh, I thought talking about hosting the show. You're talking political.
Political, yes.
I thought, wow, is she applying for this job too?
Well, I meant to tell you.
Oh, you're talking about being governor of Arkansas. I think there's a really good chance that she will win the election. But, elections are not certain things. You got to run, you have to work. She's doing all that. And even though I'd say she's ahead in the polls and she's raising a lot of money, which she's going to need every bit of it because of all that'll come against her, the fact is there's only 2 ways to run for public office, as I can attest: unopposed and scared. Well, she's not unopposed, so therefore she will run as if she's behind so that she won't be.
Good advice. All right, so John Bond writes, how do we get Biden out of the White House this year?
This year ain't going to happen this year. No, I mean, there's no way, and I think a lot of people have still believe that there was a way that the election would be overturned. Look, I'm going to be very candid with you. And this makes people, some of my friends, really angry. But once the election was certified at the state level, it was officially over. And there was nothing that could change that. Even if we uncovered enough evidence to show that there was all kinds of things going on in these states. And some of that is coming to light more and more, like in Maricopa County, Arizona, near Phoenix. all that's beginning to maybe show there was some funny business. But here's the point. It's not going to overturn the election. You can't undo it once it's certified. That's just how the law works. And so I know there were a lot of people that kept believing that right up until the day of inauguration, it was all going to change. It wasn't. And that wasn't because I didn't want it to change. Look, I'm not a Biden voter supporter. I'm a Trump guy. Thought he was a great president, still do. Nothing will change that. Heartbroken that he's not in office right now, and more so every day. But elections follow laws, and if they don't follow laws and no one overturns those results before certification, after certification, it's simply too late.
Okay, great. Thank you, Governor. I want to remind everybody, too, that's tuned in, that in the chat is the way to get to you directly. We are live.
Yep,
we are, in fact, live. So here's a question. Do you think the fair tax will ever have a chance? That from Carol.
It would have had I been president, Carol. That was one of the major things that I was really pushing in both my attempts to become president. I think the fair tax is the economic rocket fuel for the economy, and I only could wish that we can convince a president and 2 houses of Congress to pursue it. It would be a transformational moment in American economy for many reasons, most of which is we get rid of the IRS. We no longer punish people's productivity or reward their reckless irresponsibility. We actually have an economy that is based on common sense. Because when you raise children or train dogs, there's something you learn. If there's a behavior that you want more of, what do? You reward it. And if there's a behavior you want less of, what do? You consequence it. When I was a kid, we called it punishment, but we can't do that anymore because that's politically incorrect. But if there's an economic benefit that you want, if you want more money, if you want there to be a greater level of productivity, what do? You reward it. So rather than take people's money for them being productive, you let them keep it. And you charge them when they spend money, when they take it out of the economy. When you do that, that's the sort of the overly simplistic way the fair tax works. But it means that I control the future of my economic destiny rather than the government controlling it. A lot more to that. Gosh, I hope we can talk about it more, and I'm sure we will on the show.
Well, and hopefully, too, from times like this, when we've got opportunities for folks to talk to you directly.
Yeah.
This doesn't happen very often. In fact, this is a first. So if you're in the chat and you're watching, participate. This is a direct line. We're going to be on still for another 13, 14 minutes or so. We'll go longer if it goes well, right?
And let me remind people that we need them to subscribe to the channel, hit the subscribe, and also the notification bell. Then you can leave your comments as well. All of that is on the screen. As Pam said, this is a live chat. We are right now in real time talking with you and you with us. So, Pam, what else we got?
Can I ask you something that one of our audience members has pushed in that has nothing to do with politics?
Okay.
Okay, this is a great one. Where did you first learn how to play bass guitar?
Great question. I started playing guitar when I was 11, and I got my first electric guitar Christmas when I was 11 years old. And within a year, I realized that there were a lot of young kids playing guitar. They'd always have gigs and rock bands. But there were so many guitar players. There were very few bass players at that age. And I loved the sound of the bass. So I took up the bass and figured I'll always have a gig. And sure enough, I did. So that became my primary instrument was the bass. So I've been playing since I was around 12.
I want to give credit where credit is due. Great question. Chris Morency sent us that. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Very nice. Deborah Smith asking, is the Supreme Court going to take up the abortion bill soon? What do you know about that?
Well, they already have. They took the one up from Mississippi, and it is a heartbeat bill. And the significance of it is that in taking that bill up, it really gets to the very heart of the question of when does human life begin? And so we could very well see a landmark case that would affirm the personhood of the individual. I've always believed and have said that the issue is not Roe v. Wade. That's been the big thing, like we got to get rid of Roe v. Wade. No, that doesn't change abortion. If Roe v. Wade were even reversed, in some states there would be more abortion because all it would do is give the decision of abortion back to states. What would change the debate is if we recognize that the unborn child is a person. Because if the unborn child is a person, It has Fifth and 14th Amendment rights of due process, and you cannot deprive a person of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness without due process. An abortion certainly deprives a human being of life, and therefore abortion on demand, as we practice it today, would be null and void.
All right, thank you for that answer, Governor. And as folks are continuing to add to our stream, to be part of the audience, make sure you share with your friends, share, and let them know that we're out here live today. This question comes from T. Schaefer.
Okay.
Schaefer. Do you believe that the left hates us and are deliberately destroying America for personal gain?
I do think the left hates us. I mean, I get enough of that on my own social media pages. These are not people who say, Mike, I disagree with you to a level. No, these are people who hate my guts, and they're very explicit about it. Do they hate America? They probably don't think they do, but they do. They hate the America that empowers people and lets them be free and gives them the power of free speech, which is guaranteed in the First Amendment. They hate the America where we're a meritocracy and that you're not lifted up because of your color or kept back because of your color or your ethnicity or anything. A country where it's up to you. You want to do better? Do it. But if you're not willing to give it a shot, then you're not going to do better. That's the America that makes it work. That's the America that people have come from all over the globe in order to be part of. And some of the great success stories of this country are people who came here with absolutely nothing. And they came without even being able to speak the language. But within a few years, they owned their own businesses. They raised wonderful, successful, well-educated families. And they are as much a part of America as the people who came over on the Mayflower. That's the America that I think some of these people hate, because they want us to believe that we're an inherently evil, racist, awful place. And I say that is nuts. We are not. We are the greatest nation in the history of the world, and I will defend that to the death.
All right, Governor, another question from our audience in our chat. Why aren't any GOP reps and senators talking about the 2020 audits that are going on in the country? And why isn't anyone on Fox talking about it? The silence is deafening.
I think somewhat because it's a little complicated and because it's geographically spread all over the place. We're certainly talking about it. If you get MikeHuckabee.com newsletter twice a day, I promise you're hearing about audits, because we're talking about them, especially the ones going on in Arizona. We're talking about those every single day and giving people updates. So it's not that there's a complete silence. It's that for some people, it's a complicated issue. And quite frankly, to be honest, the mainstream media, they don't want to talk about it because they think then it makes them look like they're conspiracy theorists, and they don't want to be labeled or called nasty names. Heck, I don't care if I get called nasty names. I'm going to get called anyway. We're going to do the best we can to put out the truth. A reminder, be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the notification bell so we can let you know when we're going to do these kind of things, and be sure and leave us a comment.
Okay, I got another question. This has to do with the Huckabee Show. Will TBN ever film Huckabee in different locations? I don't know who wrote that. I love that idea. JB wrote that. JB.
All right. Well, JB, you're talking to the person you ought to address that to, the senior producer of the show. Pam,
let's make it happen.
Are we ever going to take the show on the road? We did that before one time.
Absolutely. In fact, I had a discussion with a couple of the staff members just this last week that said, you know what, we ought to start earmarking times maybe in 22 and 23 to see what that would look like. So in answer to your question, JB, we want to make that happen. I would love to see that happen.
You know, we did a show from Israel. And we did a couple of shows from Branson, Missouri. Had the best time of our lives. Loved Branson. And so I'm game. Let's do it.
Well, and I also, if there are folks out there that would love to have us come to your area.
There you go.
Comment in the chat. Let us know that you want us to come your way. And maybe we'll start working on something like that.
And by the way, one other thing we ought to mention, if you can't wait until we get the show to you, why don't you come and be a part of our studio audience, because you can get free tickets to come see the Huckabee Show in person live. And it's the best ticket in town because it is the only ticket in town where you have to ask for the tickets, but they're free. Ain't nothing else in Nashville free. So there's a good reason to come to this
Exactly
show.
right. Huckabee.tv.
There you
place
go.
to go. And we have put the link in the chat as well, so folks can go in and come see us here in Nashville, a little north in Hendersonville, actually. So William Jordan has written, how much is our Second Amendment in jeopardy?
It's in real jeopardy. And I'll tell you why. Because if Democrats continue to hold power in the House, the Senate, and the White House, they collectively hate the Second Amendment. I don't know why. It really is what preserves our freedom. And don't ever let somebody tell you, well, Second Amendment, that's good for hunting. Has nothing whatsoever to do with hunting. Hunting is a recreational activity. The Second Amendment is your ability to protect yourself, your family, and your property from criminals, and if necessary, from a government that becomes a tyranny. That's why we have it. Go read the history of the Second Amendment. And I don't know why people would not want to support it. It shouldn't even be a left, right, liberal Democrat or liberal conservative Democrat Republican issue. It ought to just be a simple either American, you're for it, anti-American, you're against it. But I don't think there'll be a direct attack on the Second Amendment, like to repeal it in the Constitution. That would never happen. But chipping away at the basic fundamental rights by raising the cost of what it is to get ammunition, you're seeing that already, making real deep restrictions in the kind of firearms that we can purchase and how we can handle them, are forcing us to register them. Let me give a little hint. I don't register or list or put a schedule on my insurance policy for my firearms. And somebody asked me why. I said, because if I give it to my insurance company, one day the government may compel the insurance company to give it to the government. And they ain't getting it. It's just that simple. Now, I'm a guy who's been in government, and I don't trust them enough to ever let them have that. So how many guns do I have? None of your stinking business, government. That's the answer. There.
All right, so Sue Prov writes, and this is good news for you. She is a New Yorker who loves Governor Huckabee.
Love her. Thank you, Sue.
Well, a little shout out for you there. So Sam Smith writes, do you still think that the USA has true checks and balances for everything? Prove it if you think it still does.
Theoretically, yes. Practically, no. And that's an honest, blunt answer. I wish I could tell you, oh, yeah, it's all fair, it's all just, but it isn't. We see examples in which the government weaponizes the law to go after those that it doesn't like and to protect those that it does. And it's disgusting. And it's why I think that there is on the horizon a growing revolt from not the crazies on the left, not the Antifas that want to burn down people's businesses and go steal flat screen TVs and sneakers from a retail store. I think it's coming from people who just want to live peaceably in their neighborhoods, raise their children, be able to send them to a decent school, and not have the education system sponsored by the government derail every single belief that the families hold dear.
I think we've got a great way to wrap up. I know we just have a couple of minutes left, so let's go with this question, and a good way to wrap, I do believe.
Okay.
Bob Z writes, due to health issues, I haven't been out in public for a long time, but I'm desperate to stop the anti-American trend. What can I do as an average person?
Bob, you're doing it by participating in forums like this. Write letters to the editor, get on talk radio, and let your opinion be heard. You're clearly a guy that's got convictions and deep beliefs about this great country. We share those. Don't keep them to yourself. And you don't even have to get out of your house to be able to do that. Email your friends and acquaintances in your email list and tell them to get the Huckabee newsletter and to watch the Huckabee show. Naturally, I'm pitching the stuff I'm involved in, but look, I do think we try diligently to give people information that they may not get anywhere else. So that's just one way you can do it. And Bob, thank you. Thank you for loving America and for being a part of us today. That's a big part of how it's all going to work. Yeah. Well, Pam, it looks like it is time to end the stream. And if I didn't get to answer your question, I know there were many I didn't, please feel free to leave a comment after the live stream is over. You can always send it to my2cents@tbn.tv. I'll start off with as many of your questions as I can next time. And if you're not subscribed already to the channel, hey, great time to hit that little red button down below. And because subscriptions by themselves don't mean a whole lot, click the notification bell. That way you're going to know when we have more videos up for you, and we put them up regularly. Thanks for joining Pam and me on this stream. I'll see you tonight for the breakdown and this weekend for the next edition of The Huckabee Show, which airs tomorrow night at 8 Eastern, 7 Central. You do not want to miss it. Oh, and if you really hated this video, you may want to turn on a Ben Shapiro video so he can help cleanse you with more facts and reason. See, that's what we were saying, which was not derogatory. It was saying, if you don't like this, you'll love Ben Shapiro. It was a compliment to Ben. Thanks again. Have a great day.